Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. It's Teresa here with my cat Zoe, and today I wanted to share day 5 in my 2023 October daily album with you. And so I'm going to show you a few things that I'm working with here. I started with a cut file from Sarah Bailey that was available on the Silhouette Design store for this haunted house. And then I did a few offsets, internal and external offsets to create the little window frames, and also an exterior cut file for the orange background and a border cut file for the gray kind of off-white framing that goes around the house. And so I cut the main cut file from a pattern paper from Simple Stories Simple Vintage Halloween collection. And then the orange paper is an old paper from my stash from Amy Tan and or Amy Tangerine. So then I also took some screenshots of some of the character photos and character posters from the Haunted Mansion movie. And so that's the story for today. We had sat down and watched the new release. I won't give any spoilers. It's a great movie. We laughed. We loved the characters, loved the storyline, loved the references to the previous movie, to the ride. It was a great movie. I highly recommend it. We had a really good time. And so what I thought I would do is make the house like the character posters are in the window. So they're looking out the windows at you. I don't know exactly how all of this is gonna go down just yet, but come along with me and let's get started. I'm also just gonna grab some of my adhesive, my glue pen, the little tweezers, and I have my cup of number 5 numbers and also an old alphabet from Felicity Jane. And then the last little thing is a bit of washi tape. And so let's get started on this fun little process. So the first thing that I wanted to do, I had taken some of the little pieces of my gray cardstock. The one that I used was from Monster Mash from Echo Park. And these are just little strips from inside the window. And what I was thinking to do was to create shutters. I wanted to do shutters. This is the original kind of design concept. It veers a little bit off from this, but you'll see how it evolves as the process goes. But I wanted to do like shutters that you could open and a door that you could open to see the characters behind the windows and the door. And then some of the windows I just cut out little frames for. And you can see me adhering those down right now because I wanted them either to have a shutter or a frame around it. They felt a little empty or lost or something. I don't know. I'm just adding a few more little details here and there to the cut file just to make it a little more fun. And one of the things that I was kind of thinking about when I was pulling pattern papers for this layout, you'll notice I did a bright sunshine background. That's from Heidi Swapp's Sun Chaser. And I thought about how in the movie, again, I'm not going to do any spoilers. I won't let tell the story, but the lady, the main character with her son, they move into this haunted mansion, but she has all these, kind of imaginative ideas about making it a bed and breakfast. And this is how I imagined that she thought of the house before they moved in. And so it's a little bit of the storytelling before you get to the movie and before you get into the movie, and they learn, of course, that it's haunted. And so that's why I chose the cute little polka dot for the main image of the house, and then the bright little background. But of course, we're gonna ghost this up, so don't worry, it won't look like a happy house. By the end, hopefully it'll look like a haunted house. But that's sort of where my brain was here at this point. So here's where I was gonna try to figure out how to do the hinged shutters. And I had cut some of those little pieces, as you can see, and was doing like a hinge with the washi tape behind these two windows on the first floor. And the effect is cute enough. You'll see it was cute enough, but I felt like it kind of just didn't really work the way that I wanted it to. When you closed the shutters, there was a gap, and it was just kind of klutzy feeling. So I'm going to rethink that. But while I'm rethinking that, I went ahead and adhered down some of the photos here behind the windows. And there you can see kind of how that looks. And I ended up taking that apart. And fast forward a little bit of fidgeting with it, and then I decided to trim the shutters down. And so I'm going to add them back in. They're just really a lot smaller now. Probably no thicker than foam dots or whatever. So that's kind of how I'm going to leave it for now. And then we adhere the little character poster. And, like, I'm still not completely enamored with it, but I'm going to keep going on with the process. And so I go ahead and add those shutters to the other window on the first floor. And again, I did it with the little washi tape hinges. But I will go ahead and let you know that they aren't hinged at the end. They still have shutters, but they're not hinged at the end. And this is the interesting part. I feel like with my process videos, I like to share how I get from point A to point B, and sometimes there's things that don't work out in the middle of that, and sometimes everything does work out. When I sit down with a layout, I often just have an idea, and then I figure out how to make it work as I'm going through the process. And sometimes I figure things out later. So that happens too, but to me, it's all part of the play and part of how, again, just how I get to the end of the layout as you see them finished. And I think that's one of my main purposes for sharing process videos. I know, like, when you go take a class or whatever and they do some kind of technique in the class, they've already practiced that and already worked that out before they present it to you. But here I'm processing it before it's presented to you. But I do hope that it kind of sparks some ideas for you as well, and that you'll feel free to try the techniques or the ideas that I'm sharing here. all of my work is available to use, to scrap lift, to try. That's the whole reason why I share, and I think that's why we share as a community. So the other thing that I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to put the main poster that shows all of the characters and also shows the name of the movie, Haunted Mansion. That's going to go in the doorway, and that's going to be the main thing that I think you'll see when you look at the house. Because, of course, you know, you go for the front door first, and then you can see the little door that I attached. I am going to leave the door there, and then I was just thinking about how flat it's looking, even though there's the door and the shutters, yada, yada, yada. It's just feeling a little bit flat up against the orange background. The orange is supposed to represent the lights, right? That it's lit up. So I decided to add foam tape and let that pop up a little bit. And then I thought, well, what if the poster photos were actually adhered to the orange layer and not to the windows directly? Because one thing I was feeling like was that the photos were kind of being obscured by the window frames, meaning that faces were getting cut in half and things like that. And so I thought if the photos were up against the orange background, then they would be more like you would actually see in somebody's window if you drove by. I hope that kind of makes sense, right? Because when you look out your window, you're not plastered up against the window unless you're like 3 and you're pressing your nose against the glass. So that means pulling some things back up again, namely the foam tape, and then trying to figure out where the photos need to be adhered. So I'm just going to mark some guidelines here. Of course, I had to flip it over because at this stage, all of the foam tape is free and sticky. So, at any rate, let me mark those down, and then I'll have an idea of where to put the photos. And that worked out actually pretty well. I like how that went down. There was one window one photo that stuck out above the image. It's that center one that I've already put down. And you'll see after I put them all in place, I'll go back and trim that out with my X-Acto knife. No big deal there. I think the main thing that you just want to be sure is that the window frames themselves are all covered with the photo. So there aren't any gaps. And look, there it is. It's all put together now, and I'm going to go and fix that one little image. And I'm just making sure not to go through the orange part of the cut file now. And I like that about X-Acto knives. They kind of help you control the amount of pressure that you're using. And so that ends up working out really nicely, and I'm liking how it's coming together, except that I'm still not really happy about the shutters. So that's fine. We'll get back to that here in a moment. So that's fixed, and now you can see the cute little door. And then I'm gonna adhere it down to the background. This is the outline. Again, I created that doing an internal and external offset of the original cut file in Silhouette. And I decided to put it behind the house. I thought that was kind of a different way of using these. I don't know. But it was a little bit, it felt a little bit heavy on top of the house. So that was kind of a good way to still have it there. Something is framing that house so it doesn't look like it's floating in the air or floating floating off into the sunset. All right, there were a couple of little spots that felt a little bit flimsy, so I reinforced those, and then I'm back to playing with these shutters. At this point, I'm trying to think about what it would look like if they just were glued down and if they didn't move at all. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing with those. But I am going to have the little door open and close. And so here in a few minutes, I'll start playing with the door and adding some little embellishments to that. Let me just clean off some things here and get rid of the clutter. And also, of course, I want to do a title. And so I don't even know how it is that I still have Felicity Jane puffy alphabets that have not been used yet, but here they are. Here they are, and that's what I'm going to do here. And just spell that out following the line of the sun, and then I am leaving a little space at the top there for the number 5. I have no idea which number I'm going to use, but I'm guessing that it's going to have to be a small one. And that's okay. I like that this title it draws you right in to the layout. And so you know exactly like what we're doing, and then you get to kind of go on a hunt through the house to see what movie it is. So let me find a couple of 5s here. There were a couple of pretty decent options. A lot of them were just too tall. So that's all right. I do really like the little metal one. The round metal one from Tim Holtz was a pretty good option, but the 5, just the 5 with no circle, ends up being the one, not the one that's down there right now. And because the one that's there right now is just, it's a little bit too big. I'm just letting it sit there for a minute. And I am going to go ahead here and just go ahead and glue down these shutters and be done with that. That idea did not go as planned. No big deal. So it's still going to be cute. It's still going to be fun. And the door, like I said, the door will be the thing that will still move a little bit. And so that's fun. That way you have a little interactivity there. Yeah, so I got that down, and then adding these 2 more to that middle window. Those were just a little bit longer than the window, but it's fine. It's fine, and I really like how the white frame around the half circle window, how that that helps you see that better, I think. The framing on that one and the framing on the oval. So I like how this is coming together, and I really liked the brighter kind of background there. Just the idea of her looking for her dream house. It kind of has the feel of The Money Pit. Do you guys remember that movie? They also bought their dream house and it didn't go as planned. But it's a great storyline. So I'm going to use red line tape on this metal number. I think it was from Tim Holtz. And I'm just going to hope and pray that it'll stay there with the red line. That's fine. I like that it's a little bit more texture there and raised up. And then I'm gonna grab my pen and just write a few sentences about how we liked it. And it's definitely a new favorite. I love documenting the new movies every year. Last year, I did a really fun layout for Hocus Pocus because that one had just come out last year. And now this year, it's Haunted Mansion. So that's a lot of fun. A lot of fun to see new versions of old favorites and then to document them into the album. A couple more things here, and then we're going to wrap this layout up. I know it's been a little bit longer than normal today. I'm adding a few little bats at the top just to fill in some of that little space over the sun. And then also the front door needs a little bit of something. So there was this stamp set from Hero Arts. There was a little hello there. So I put that down, and then I'm going to do a little doorknob with some enamel dots. And then I also just had some little stars, and so I'm going to give it, at first I only thought I had 3 stars. So I'm going to give it 3 stars because that's all I had. But then I did find 2 more little gray puffy hearts. And so I'm going to add those at the bottom. And there the movie will, in fact, have 5 stars. Thank you all so much for watching and for leaving me such wonderful comments. Thank you for your enthusiasm about this project. It's been so much fun to share it with you. And I will definitely see you back here again very soon. Bye-bye.